So Emil Gustav had some really nice stainless steel knives that were amazing, but cost a fortune. So the standard kind of knives that you would get was Sabatier, which was like a carbon, I'm not sure if it's a carbon steel, but yeah, and if you got lemon juice or vinegar on it and you used to wipe it, it used to smell and stink. And eventually all the knives went to a better stage. Of course, I had my nice knife box presented to me by somebody important with someone else's name on, but they looked too posh to ever kind of use, so they used to stay at home, if that makes sense. And the book that we all used to use was Cicerone and Quinton. This was the book that all colleges kind of gave you as the official Bible regards how you made all of your sauces and your derivatives and your scone mixes. But I was growing up. I became a bit more serious, and we had a few changes in the kitchen. A few people left, and I was given a leg up to become a bit more senior. So I went from an apprentice, I think after 4 years, to a commie, or a chef de partie, or a first commie. And the bizarre, because you became more confident, you became better at what you did in the kitchen, sort of. Your confidence grew, and you were able to have an occasional joke and a kind of a mess around. And some of the horrible things that chefs used to do, which I would never, of course, wish to condone, was if the manager or anybody important came anywhere near the kitchen, then you'd get great big handfuls of crushed black peppercorns, and you'd throw them into the middle of the hot stove. This was called a solid top. This was a flat top thing, a bit like imagine an Arga that worked, that was really big and massive and huge, and you'd throw all these black peppercorns in the middle of this when the manager, and then just you'd run out the back door and hide, because the fog, this deadly throat tightening, stinging of the eyes fog, you descended everywhere for 2 or 3 minutes, which really used to sort everybody out, which was good. Or of course, was even more interesting things that occasionally used to happen, which was things like you'd find a chef in the kitchen you didn't like, and you'd then decide to get his shoes or boots, and you'd saw, with the meat saw, of course, or not, and you would then saw the toe caps out, and either leave the shoes there with no toe caps, or just leave the toe caps. Or on the outside the changing room, you'd leave one toe cap on the floor. So when he walked into work, he'd say, "What the hell's that there for?" And then he'd find out. Lots of salt into mugs of tea, and then something which the waiters and the chefs in those days were all very mature and very skilled. So their ability to laugh and joke with each other was pretty good. But you had to be in that set, and you had to be accepted, and that was only by delivering the food to a great standard. And it was so you might occasionally the waiters would leave their spoon and fork on the side, because they were always obviously silver serving, so the chef might decide to accidentally warm that through, which was quite good. So my time on the sauce section continued, which was really hard and tough, and then occasionally I used to get involved with desserts, who I really liked, and we'd make some Tia Maria coffee syllabubs and some saffron yogurt mousses, and then it then became a time where I suddenly realised that this wasn't just a way of earning 10, 15 quid a week, but actually, if I was smart, I could actually have a go at it. And I obviously wanted to kind of, look at an RD 250 Yamaha or 400, and I didn't get a lot of time off. And then I went to Carnaby Rose Racers in Oliver's Mount, and I saw a guy racing called Barry Sheen. And that was the start of a real bit of interesting, time in my life.